Speech, 6 things an intelligent person never says. The tongue is small, yet it shapes the course of our lives. Words are like arrows. Once they leave the bow, they cannot be called back. The wise guard their speech because they know that a careless word can ruin a friendship, ignite a quarrel, or destroy their own peace. Intelligence is not only measured by what we know, but by what we choose to withhold. Let us consider 6 things a truly intelligent person never says. First, an intelligent person never says, "I already know everything." Knowledge is endless, and the moment we believe we have reached its limits, we stop growing. Pride in knowledge blinds the mind. The wise approach every conversation as a student, even when they are the teacher, for they know that arrogance is the enemy of truth. Second, an intelligent person never says, "It's not my fault," when responsibility is theirs to bear. Excuses are the shield of the weak. The wise take ownership of their actions, even when the outcome is bitter. For the path to self-mastery is paved with accountability. They know that blame shifting may preserve pride for a moment, but it destroys character in the end. Third, an intelligent person never says, "I can't change." Change is the nature of life itself. Seasons shift, rivers alter their course, and mountains crumble over time. To declare that change is impossible is to declare war against the very law of nature. The wise embrace growth even when it demands the death of old habits and the discomfort of transformation. Fourth, an intelligent person never says, "It's not fair," when life deals a hard hand. Life was never promised to be fair, it was only promised to be life. The wise accept both joy and suffering as necessary companions, understanding that complaint does not alter reality, but acceptance transforms the soul. Fifth, an intelligent person never says, "I don't care," about matters of virtue and justice. Indifference to what is right is a quiet form of evil. The wise care deeply about truth, kindness, and integrity, for these are the pillars of a life worth living. To care is to live awake. To stop caring is to sleepwalk into ruin. Sixth, an intelligent person never says, "I'll do it later," when action is needed now. Delay is the thief of opportunity and the friend of regret. The wise understand that the present moment is all they truly own. Tomorrow is not promised, and waiting for the perfect time is waiting for something that will never come. Guarding speech words are powerful and irreversible. A wise person speaks with intention and avoids careless talk. The wise understand that words are not simply sounds carried by the air. They are forces that shape reality, relationships, and the course of one's own character. To guard one's speech is to guard the heart, for what flows from the mouth begins in the soul. Once a word is spoken, it cannot be retrieved. It takes on a life of its own, either building or destroying, healing or wounding. An intelligent person knows that even a single careless remark can undo years of trust or stir up resentment where there was once peace. Therefore, restraint becomes a virtue. Silence is not weakness. In fact, silence often demands more strength than speaking. A fool will rush to fill the air with opinions, judgments, and complaints, believing that constant talking proves their intelligence. Yet the opposite is true. Those who speak less and listen more display depth, patience, and wisdom. It is not that the wise never speak, but rather they measure their words with care, ensuring that what they say serves a purpose, to guide, to comfort, to clarify, or to stand for truth. Every sentence is weighed in the balance before it leaves their lips. This guarding of speech is not only for the benefit of others, but for the protection of one's own mind and spirit. Harsh words spoken in anger leave a lingering poison in the soul of the speaker, as much as in the heart of the hearer. Gossip, slander, and thoughtless comments may seem small at first, but they accumulate like dust in a room, dulling the clarity of one's integrity. The wise person avoids these traps by practicing the discipline of pausing before speaking, asking, "Is this necessary? Is it true? Will it bring benefit?" If the answer is no, the mouth remains closed and the matter is left in the safety of silence. In a world where many speak quickly and regret later, guarding the tongue becomes a mark of rare intelligence. This discipline is not learned overnight. It is cultivated through self-awareness and the humility to admit that not everything we think is worth saying. The tongue, though small, can steer the direction of life much like a rudder directs the course of a great ship. Therefore, to control the tongue is to steer oneself toward peace, honor, and respect. The intelligent person treasures this control and understands that mastery over speech is mastery over the self. They choose words that align with virtue, for they know that language shapes the soul of the one who uses it. The foolish may be known for their noise, but the wise will be remembered for the weight and worth of their words. In this way, guarding one's speech becomes not only a sign of intelligence, but a path toward a life of harmony, dignity, and strength. Rejecting arrogance, true intelligence remains teachable and avoids claiming to know everything. The belief that one already knows everything is a subtle form of self-destruction. It closes the door to growth and locks the mind inside the prison of arrogance. An intelligent person recognizes that no matter how much they have learned, there is always more to discover, always more to understand. Life is too vast, too complex for anyone to claim mastery over it. The moment a person declares, "I already know everything," they stop seeking, they stop questioning, and they stop listening. The world continues to move forward, but they remain stagnant, held back by their own pride. Wisdom begins with humility, the awareness that one's knowledge is limited and imperfect. Even the most educated mind can be blind in many areas. The wise approach every conversation, every book, and every experience with the attitude of a student. They do not fear admitting ignorance, because to admit ignorance is to open the way to learning. The foolish, however, are so concerned with appearing intelligent that they refuse to acknowledge the gaps in their understanding. They speak as if they hold the final word on every matter, yet their certainty betrays their insecurity. An intelligent person sees that every human being, regardless of their background, has something to teach. A child can reveal truth through innocence. A stranger can offer perspective through experience. Even an adversary can provide valuable lessons through disagreement. By staying teachable, the mind remains alive and flexible, able to adapt and refine its views as new knowledge is gained. In contrast, the arrogant mind becomes rigid and brittle, easily shattered when confronted with reality. This humility toward learning is not weakness, it is strength. To say, "I do not know," is not a confession of failure, but a declaration of readiness to grow. It takes courage to admit that there is more to learn and discipline to seek that learning continually. The intelligent person does not fear being wrong, for each correction is a step closer to truth. They also understand that knowledge without application is empty. They do not gather facts merely to boast, but to live better, to help others, and to align themselves with virtue. This constant pursuit of understanding shapes them into someone whose wisdom is deep, not shallow, and whose influence is lasting, not fleeting. The path of humility and knowledge is a lifelong journey. There is no final destination where learning ends. The wise embrace this reality with joy, finding wonder in every opportunity to expand their understanding. They know that the moment they think they have reached the top is the moment they begin to fall. Therefore, they choose instead to remain forever climbing, forever seeking, and forever open to the lessons life has to offer. In this way, their intelligence is not diminished by humility, it is made complete by it. Taking responsibility, an intelligent person owns their actions and avoids excuses or blame. Shifting. To say, "I can't change," is to surrender before the battle has even begun. It is to chain oneself to a false belief that the person you are today is the person you must always be. An intelligent person rejects this defeatist mindset because they understand that change is not only possible, it is inevitable. Life itself is built on change. The seasons turn, the tides rise and fall, the body grows old, and the mind evolves through experience. Refusing to change is not a sign of strength or stability. It is a refusal to live in harmony with the natural order. The wise see that change often requires discomfort, sacrifice, and humility, but they embrace it because they know it is the only path to growth. Every bad habit can be broken, every harmful belief can be unlearned, and every weakness can be strengthened through discipline and persistence. It may not happen overnight, but gradual progress is still progress. The one who says, "I can't change," is really saying, "I am unwilling to try," or "I fear the cost of transformation." Fear often disguises itself as inability. The intelligent person confronts this fear and understands that effort is the key that unlocks new possibilities. They accept that mistakes will be made along the way and that failure is not a reason to stop but an essential part of the process. In fact, failure teaches resilience, and resilience fuels further change. The wise do not wait for the perfect conditions to improve themselves. They begin where they are, with what they have, and take consistent steps toward who they wish to become. They also recognize that change is not just about self-improvement, but about living in greater alignment with virtue. It is about shedding attitudes that lead to bitterness, discarding patterns that harm relationships, and adopting ways of thinking and acting that bring peace to the soul. The transformation of character is the highest form of change, and it requires both courage and honesty. The foolish resist change because they cling to comfort and familiarity, even when it harms them. They convince themselves that transformation is impossible so they can avoid the pain of effort. But the intelligent know that the temporary discomfort of change is far less painful than the lifelong regret of stagnation. Every day is an opportunity to become better than yesterday. The wise take this opportunity seriously because they understand that life is short and precious. To waste it in the same state year after year is to waste the very gift of existence. They see change not as a threat but as a companion, guiding them toward a richer, fuller life. In embracing change, they embrace the very flow of life itself, and in doing so, they find strength, purpose, and a freedom that the unchanging will never know. Embracing change and acceptance, life constantly changes. Wisdom is shown in adapting without complaint about fairness. To say it's not fair is to demand that the world bend itself to our desires, yet the world was never made to operate according to our personal sense of fairness. Life gives blessings to some and burdens to others without explanation. Storms fall on both the just and the unjust, and no amount of complaint will alter this reality. An intelligent person accepts this truth early in life and learns to live in peace with it. They understand that fairness, as people often imagine it, is an illusion born from comparing oneself to others. The wise refuse to waste energy on resentment over what others have or over the hardships they themselves endure. Instead, they focus on what can be done within their own power. When misfortune strikes, they do not cry out that life has treated them unfairly. They rise to meet the challenge, knowing that hardship is an inevitable part of the human experience. Injustice exists in the world, but to dwell endlessly on it without action is to allow bitterness to take root. The intelligent person channels the pain of life's inequities into growth, strength, and compassion. They use adversity to sharpen their character rather than to erode it. They know that life owes them nothing, and by letting go of this false debt, they are freed from the constant burden of disappointment. The wise also recognize that what appears unfair in the moment may, in time, prove to be a hidden gift. Many trials, though bitter at first, become the very experiences that forge resilience and wisdom. The one who constantly cries "it's not fair" blinds themselves to this possibility and misses the lessons woven into their struggles. Fairness is not guaranteed, but virtue is always within reach. An intelligent person devotes themselves to living rightly regardless of whether life rewards them in return. They do good because it is right, not because it guarantees an easy path. They accept that control over the events of life is limited, but control over one's own attitude is absolute. When they encounter injustice, they seek to correct it where possible, but they do not allow outrage to consume their peace. They understand that true strength lies in meeting life as it is, not as we wish it to be. The wise see that complaining about fairness does nothing to improve reality. It only magnifies dissatisfaction. By releasing the demand for fairness, they find a steadiness that no external circumstance can shake. This is not resignation, but liberation, the freedom to live with purpose even in a world that will never be perfectly balanced. In this way, they turn life's uneven ground into the training ground for endurance, gratitude, and unshakable peace. Acting without delay, procrastination robs opportunities. The present moment is the only time guaranteed. To say "I'll do it later" is to gamble with the most precious resource a person possesses, time. Later is a word that deceives, offering comfort in the present while stealing opportunities from the future. An intelligent person understands that the only time they truly own is now. Tomorrow is not promised, and yesterday cannot be reclaimed. The present moment is the only ground on which life can be built. Procrastination is not simply a matter of poor planning. It is often the product of fear, laziness, or misplaced priorities. By delaying action, a person silently allows their goals to wither, their duties to pile up, and their character to weaken. The wise reject the illusion that there will always be a better or more convenient time. They recognize that waiting for the perfect moment is waiting for something that will never arrive, because every moment carries its own challenges. The intelligent person acts promptly, not recklessly, but with a clear understanding that delay robs them twice. First, by stealing the opportunity itself, and second, by weakening the will to act at all. Each time an important task is postponed, it becomes easier to delay again, until habit transforms procrastination into a way of life. The wise guard against this by training themselves to act decisively. They understand that progress is made in small steps taken consistently, not in great leaps imagined for the future. Even the smallest action taken today is more valuable than the grandest plan postponed until tomorrow. This is especially true in matters of character and virtue. Waiting to be more disciplined, more honest, or more compassionate later is simply a way of excusing inaction now. The wise do not wait for a new year, a new season, or a new mood to do what is right. They begin where they stand, knowing that time wasted cannot be earned back. They also understand that life's unpredictability makes delay a dangerous choice. The opportunity that is open today may be gone tomorrow, replaced by circumstances beyond one's control. A conversation that could heal a relationship may never happen if postponed too long. A chance to serve, to grow, or to act on an idea may vanish forever if not seized in its proper moment. The foolish comfort themselves with the thought that there will always be time, but the intelligent live with the sober awareness that time is slipping away with every breath. This awareness does not fill them with fear but with urgency. a determination to make the most of every day, every hour, every chance given to them. In living this way, they avoid the regret that plagues those who look back on life and realize that most of what they dreamed, they never began. For the wise, the words "I'll do it later" are replaced with "I will do it now." And in this choice, they claim the fullness of life while it is still in their hands.